For the big fight fans, this Luis Saldana fight is pretty big. He was probably one of the best Dana White Contender Series showings we've seen in a long time, getting Murdoch with that beautiful head kick. And frankly, that entire fight, he was landing at will, switching stance at will, throwing beautiful jabs. My favorite part of his game is how he's able to actually execute both jabs so precisely, no matter if he's standing orthodox, southpaw. This guy is the prototypical switch fighter, and I think the way he's executing his kicks right now, even on the Dana White Contender Series, I mean, it was a marvel to watch. I think everybody was pretty excited about it, and even Dana, you obviously can't hear him say this, but you can kind of read his lips, and he certainly says, "Wow, he set that up so or something like that." Dropped an F-bomb. It is what it is, but I mean, it was a beautiful showing. Let's flip quickly right to Jordan Griffin, right? Wisconsin native, so we know he's training right out of Roufusport. I think that he's got a pretty good pedigree when it comes to, fairly good cardio and that grappling and things like that. But this is going to be a tough fight from the striking department. He's got a guy like Anthony Pettis in his camp that he's been working with for so long. The big thing about him is the losses, right? I got to give the guy credit because even in being 1-3 in his last 4, to take on guys like Yusuf Zalal, Chaz Skelly, Dan Ige, Archuleta, like Dan Moore, like these are guys that are very much current Bellator UFC caliber fighters. And, I think he's looked pretty good for the most part. The Zalal fight, let's quickly touch on that. I thought he did a very good job in the first round. He was able to get the takedowns, but keeping up with Yusuf Zalal's pace is a fight in itself. And I think that what you saw there was, despite, Jordan staying in that fight for the most part, he was getting outworked just based on cardio alone. Even on the ground exchanges, you can tell Yusuf was able to get those, opportune positions to be able to switch him up or transition and get right back to his feet. That's the part that I think Jordan was probably a little bit disappointed in himself for, because, that was a winnable fight. I can remember even in the third round as it kind of kicked off, those odds were still very close live. And I think that was one of the better showings he's had despite some of the losses. And, the win over TJ Brown is pretty solid. TJ Brown was a standout on the Dana White Contender Series as well, and he got a submission win there. So I really like that he's had so much experience, right? Because going into this fight against a guy like Luis Saldana, I think the striking is going to be massive. I think avoiding those kicks, being able to kind of dictate pace and get it to the ground as quickly as possible is going to be really smart. We can't help but feel that, fight ready. When you think fight ready, you think Henry Cejudo. When you think Henry Cejudo, these boys are training good wrestlers. They've got absolutely amazing training partners for that. So when you think about what Saldana can be bringing to the table after improving, there's a chance he's a much better wrestler, especially defensively. Takedown defense looked good in that one fight, but Jordan Griffin knows what he's getting himself into. I think he's going to be able to know and watch tape and be like, well, yeah, I'm going against a predominantly very, very, very good and highly, high potential type striker. A big win here, whether it's a knockout or not, is going to be big for Saldana. So when you think about everything to lose and something to gain, looking at his past record, Jordan Griffin has a lot more to lose here, I would say, because, his past losses, you can kind of give a lot of credit in terms of fight caliber, things like that. But at this point, not that I'm taking anything away from Saldana, but, he's taking on a newcomer from the Dana White Contender Series who now has to kind of take his game to that next level. So if he does that against Jordan, it's kind of a telltale sign of where things are going for both fighters. So, in this one, I'm kind of hoping for a good brawl. I think that if Jordan's able to get this fight to the ground early, which he did do against the guy like Yusuf Zalal. So that's something to take into consideration. Not that Yusuf Zalal is a crazy hard guy to take down, but he moves so much. He's the definition of like an ADD fighter in the octagon, just constantly shifting, constantly moving. And so I think having to deal with that kind of sets you up a little bit better in dealing with a guy like Luis Saldana, who's going to be coming pretty much straight, perfect jabs, head kicks, body kicks galore. I think that he's going to be able to kind of defend those things well, but we'll be able to see if he's able to get in close or not and get away from those kicks and work his way in. Because if he doesn't, I can see this being Luis Saldana's night, just from a distance striking perspective, whether he gets the knockout or not. It's kind of that bread and butter of who's going to kind of impose their very different game plans. Because if you had two guys just going in there like the Holtzman-Jim Miller fight last time, kind of crazy, right? Both guys just throwing down. Holtzman kind of getting the edge in the grappling and pulls off a really close win. So let's hope that this is a great fight. May the best man win. I really do think Saldana's got a shot if this fight stays standing, but don't count out Jordan Griffin, man. If this fight hits the ground, he's got enough experience and he's got enough, good losses under his belt to kind of know where he needs to be when this fight takes off. So stay tuned for that one. It's going to be a banger.